So here is the battle of minds between Zeus and Undead Chronic. So here's the preface here. Honestly, honestly, I'm a little disappointed. I said as much during the live stream, which you guys will hear, or you would have heard if you were present last night. I really thought they were gonna come with the heat, with the smoke. I thought there was about to be some blood sports, a shadow duel, if you will. No, I'm kidding. No, but I really thought that it would be a little bit, a little more amped up. So on the one hand, I am pleasantly surprised. On the other hand, I came in a little bit more heated and agitated than I probably should have been. I am greatly disappointed. I think a lot of people would probably say I lost this debate, if you can even consider it so. But I think that I have been reaffirmed in my position. My position being that as young men, we need something to fight for. We cannot continue this nonsense that Western society is not worth fighting for. And I think that it might be time for us to end the gender war, or we need to find some way to move beyond a disdain for thoughties and women. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to continue to criticize them because they need it. But I think that we need to start moving towards some type of healing. And I think this conversation kind of encapsulates exactly why. So, preface out of the way, I will let you guys come to your own conclusions now as you watch this 1 hour conversation.
Can do it too. Thank you, you mean old greenskin. Oh, I'm definitely mean. I won't deny that. If you guys want to support the show, you want to support the warband, you can do so at paypal.me/UCW show. Okay, let's get base in here after I hit this wicked backstretch.
That sounds like that one took about 3 hours.
Oh.
There you go.
Why am I so tired, Hammerhand?
Because you work, sir. You work. Maybe a little heavy on the Kush side. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No Kush so far today.
Oh,
no,
shit,
I do.
That's why.
I do. Yeah, probably. I mean, I do work, but I do the people are like, oh, that's not work. You won't get tired. Well, thinking is a very calorie intensive.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah,
it's exhausting. When you are mentally under strain and duress, it's exhausting.
Yeah, especially if you're learning. So it's not like, oh, Chronic thinks just like, like you think, like some dude thinks. So it's like, where did I restock the damn sodas in the back of my 7-Eleven? No, the Chronic thing is just like, oh, I need to learn 5 new statistical analysis tools. Oh, it's like the pre-stress. I'm like, fuck. Okay, let's get Base in here. Base, you are live on the UCW show.
So you're not gonna keep that same energy, I see.
Do you think that? Wait, do you think I'm gonna like just be yelling at you and calling you a beta? Is that what you want?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I thought that's exactly what this was gonna be.
No. I mean, have you watched the shows?
No.
Oh, okay, then yeah, no. If it's me talking about someone I disagree with, I'll make jokes and I'll have a good time. If someone wants to have a discussion, it's completely different energy.
That seems remarkably silly to me. You could have done that from the beginning. Number one.
So you wanted to fight.
Number two.
Okay.
Number two. The sensationalism, I think, is goofy and childish. I'm
just
going to be straight up.
Let's address number one first. Let's address number one first.
Yeah, let's start with Lauren Southern first. You wanted to bring her up as a talking point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to say number one, like you say, it's goofy. You just disagree with my content style.
I disagree with what you said.
Okay, but saying like you're not keeping the same energy.
Yeah.
Why would what? Am I supposed to be boring the entire time I run the channel?
Who said you had to be boring to run the channel? The fact you called me what? A simp?
Beta?
You made fun of
simp,
my voice.
Anime lover.
Look, man, how do we get from the point where we're all having a round table a couple of years ago and now you're talking to Southern about how bad and evil this shit is? How do we
How
get there?
bad at what point did I say any of this stuff was bad?
Well, you
and evil?
certainly didn't broom it up and make it look good.
Absolutely not, because I was referring to the doomer mindset that I'm seeing a lot of these young men are having
In
that is getting
Mgtow?
fostered. No, nigga, not in Mgtow, in the Manosphere.
You think I'm a doomer?
Absolutely. After what you said, yeah,
Uh-huh.
absolutely.
What's a doomer aspect? Like, what am I
So
saying
the
that makes a
doomer
doomer?
aspect of letting society burn and letting it go and not fighting for it is doomer, and it's silly to me.
Well, who are you
Especially when you
fighting for?
consider, especially I'm fighting for my family, I'm fighting for society, I'm fighting for my friends, I'm fighting for the ideals of Western society.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We
Okay.
living in the absolute best time to be a human, and to give up on our society because we have some feminists or some nonsense is ridiculously stupid to me.
So let's tease out the doomer word. For me, when I hear doomer, it's society is doomed, black pill, there's no point in fighting for anything. That's not what I do. I'm getting prepared
Okay.
for what comes after feminism. I don't have no interest in this decrepit society, but I'm not just like, oh, woe is me, give up on everything, don't fight for your family. Everything I say and preach is to have a strong family and to protect it.
Then where was even our disagreement to begin with then?
Well, we had a couple. I think one, talking to Lauren Southern, who was smirking about censoring Sandman with legal threats. That's probably the most disgusting thing for me.
I mean, she's talked to Sandman herself. She sent me this one screenshot where even Sandman responds with an apology, actually, or his plans to make an apology video for it.
I think
So
for the people interested, Sandman's going to be releasing a video either this weekend or this week, and he's going to show all the other screenshots, because I talk to Sandman quite frequently, and it's not from what I saw. And I don't think there's any way you can send threats of legal action against someone who's staying anonymous and it not being a complete asshole move.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, whatever is going on with Lauren and Sandman is Lauren and Sandman.
Okay.
I'm not really concerned with them.
So like, would you
okay. Go ahead.
No. What are you more concerned with?
I'm more concerned with the mentality of not fighting for your Western society.
What is Western society?
Why would people go into that mentality? Why would people have that frame of mind? What's your opinion on that?
No, well, you tell me.
Well, I think because they've been betrayed too much. Okay. Because they're constantly being betrayed. Because they're constantly being sold out. Constantly. There's only so much of that you can deal with and put up. Yes, the society, I think, is pretty fantastic, to be honest with you. Humanity as a whole is more prosperous than it's ever been. It's more well-regulated than it's ever been. But there's only so much shit that anybody is going to take. Okay. Look at your gas prices right now.
Okay.
Right? They're almost triple what they were 18 months ago. Is that any particular person's fault? $30 trillion in debt. Who do we look at for that? Yeah, right. Lots of them. And how much are you expected to clean up the fucking mess every 4 years that this happens? You know, you're expected to go out there and die, literally sign your life away, go die. I don't think so. Not for me.
All right. So throughout all of human history, we've had our struggles and we've had our folly. Those men didn't give up. And I find it completely unacceptable for us in the best possible time to be alive to give up on our society.
So do you think
throughout the Great Depression, throughout slavery, all the different wars we've had to deal with, even the Great Depression, I think I just mentioned the Great Depression. We're talking about World War II, World War I. We're talking about all the struggles humans have had up to this point. We get to modern society. Once again, the best possible time for us to be alive. Where we have the internet, we can communicate with each other, we can talk to each other, we can share these different ideas. We have psychiatrists, we have therapy. If we have any problems, we can get help. There's so many avenues of which we can do to improve ourselves right now in modern society. To me, it is unacceptable to say I've been betrayed too much, so I'm not going to fight to protect this environment. Because even if you have been betrayed too much, you still have other people, especially children who are growing up who have no chance at all, who have to suffer too. And so we're just going to leave them to the wayside?
What did groups of men who were betrayed by the powers of society, what did they do throughout human history? Did they try to did they plead to the king? Did they plead to the council? No. They got extremely violent and they made a new society.
All
Were
right,
they giving up? Were they giving up?
we'll reference the American Revolution. No, then they absolutely didn't give up. Then
Okay.
they fought for what they wanted.
So like if you expect me to be given up, but I'm telling men to prepare for what comes next because this society can't be fixed, you got to build a new one. That's not giving up.
That's exactly what giving up sounds like. This society can't be fixed. Move on to the next one. What is the next society?
Would you if you were in Nazi Germany, would you try to plead or would you fight? Are you giving up on Nazi Germany society? Sounds like giving up.
Am I an immigrant or was I born into it? I mean,
let's say let's just say I just teleported you right now, and they
teleported me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would try to leave. First of all,
so you'd be giving up.
I'm not. Hitler's not going to be too fond of me.
Okay, but so you're giving up
on Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
No, on the culture that exists inside of Nazi Germany.
No, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably fight the Nazis, actually.
Okay.
Cool. Welcome to the boxcar, because that's where you're going to end up.
I'd probably get killed then.
But you'd fight them, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Definitely. Would you just go out in a blaze of glory?
I'd probably just be straight martyrdom, if not suicide, to go one man against the Nazis. It would be far more reasonable to leave that environment, go join the Americans, then come back and fight them with more allied forces.
But you're basically cleansing the plate of that society. So you're giving up on it.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, you're saying if we're not going to engage in society and fix it, we're giving up.
If I'm bringing the Americans to defeat the Nazi regime so I can remake Germany, then I'm not giving up on Germany.
So you're changing
the Nazis.
Okay, that's different then, because like what? I just want to change the U.S. government. Everything was changed in Nazi Germany, but you're not going to plead with the government and change it the slow, very benign, peaceful, negotiating ways. Because that's what I'm not interested in that.
Okay, let's just stop here. One, we're not America currently isn't Nazi Germany, which is a
really
poor comparison.
Well, if you don't consider the unborn to be humans, sure.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
well, are the unborn humans or no?
You're talking about children inside their mother's wombs?
Yeah, do they have human rights or no? I'm not saying they do or don't. I'm just saying if you don't think they have human rights, then sure, you can make the argument it's not like Nazi Germany. But if they have human rights, 10 Holocausts, 60 million aborted?
You're comparing the abortion problem to the Holocaust.
No, what I'm saying is if you don't think fetuses have human rights, your argument makes sense. If you think they do have human rights, this is much worse than the Holocaust because there's been about 10 of them.
Okay, so you want to stop women getting abortions?
I just want to find out what you believe, because you said we're not as bad as Nazi Germany.
I want to stop women from getting abortions. So I actively fight against them.
Okay, so you're pro-life. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't.
Okay.
What does this have to do with
good.
So we've had 10 Holocausts worth of children getting slaughtered in this society.
Inside their mother's wombs, yes.
Mm-hmm. So you think we're worse than Nazi or better?
Probably still a lot better.
Well, I mean, what made the Nazis bad besides the Holocaust? We did 10 of them. You can say starting a bunch of wars. Okay.
Definitely starting World War II didn't really help with that whole being good thing either.
Yeah.
More than that, I don't know why are we talking about Nazis?
Well, because you're saying you're saying if I don't peacefully try to change society, I'm giving up on it. But you admitted that you wouldn't try to peacefully change Nazi society.
Peacefully is one avenue that you're refusing to do. Number one, it could be active as well. But you're deciding to wait to let society burn to fight for another society that may or may not even come.
Yeah, because I
don't understand what the foresight is in this regard either.
Base in a part of that deal that you had with Southern there, you said that it was incredibly important that men and women work together because they need each other. How are you going to convince tens of millions of women that they need us?
I think the first step is you have to convince men that they should love themselves, number one. Men have to be leaders and accept their own masculinity. Men have to. Why? Because society depends on us as men to continue.
Exactly.
We are society's lifeblood. So first and foremost, as men, we cannot be defeatist. We cannot accept that we are not important people.
You cannot accept 100 million lice on your back sucking you dry either. If you want men to be right and square with themselves and love themselves, you got to kick the fleas off too.
So then you're not disagreeing with fighting for society. What point are you making?
What I'm saying is that we get used for everything. The original question was, how do you convince tens of millions of women that they need us?
So the first thing is, as men, we need to understand how important we are. And once we're back being leaders, once we understand that we're the ones in control, we do not accept the bad behaviors of women.
Well,
And there's a
That's
lot of
what we're doing.
subsidizing and a lot of accepting the nasty, awful behaviors that women are doing. A
That's
lot of the
exactly
dating
what we
coaches-
do.
Hold
I
on, hold on. A lot of the dating coaches are teaching men how to be really good at being what women want. We cut that shit right out, number one. We need to start telling women what they need and get them on our program. Our program is getting a strong family unit and being in our children's lives. So we need to establish that we are men, we are leaders, we're in control here. And if you're giving us the power, if our lives are on the line, you have to follow suit.
Well, we don't have the power.
How do we not have the power if we're
Well, the majority voting
society?
bloc are women.
We've been
It doesn't matter.
disenfranchised, sir.
It doesn't matter if the majority voting bloc are women.
So
then how do you
wait,
get that power? How
wait,
do you
so-
get that swing in your favor?
So the basis
Okay,
of
well,
how
yeah,
the
so
society
the
is
first
run,
step-
the basis of how society is run, being in control of women, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, then they are powerful then.
Because guess what? If men are the leaders of women, if
Mm.
we're told we're supposed to be the alphas of women and whatnot, they'll just follow suit with what we say. If we're righteous and we lead them correctly, they're gonna vote in favor of us. We've seen consistently that women vote more conservatively when they have husbands. Why do they
So-
vote more conservatively? Obviously so, because more conservative programs or policies help their men be able to function economically in society. Whereas when women don't have a man in their life, they usually vote more for socialist stuff. Again, the logic being, right, which is correlation. Maybe you could say not causation, but the correlation being that when they don't have a man in their life, they need more government subsidies to help them out as to exist and to get resources. So if we have women who are in relationships with men, most of them, again, correlation, not causation, are probably going to vote more conservatively to help out their husbands. If
How
they
do you
have
get
that
4
strong husband-
generations of women that have been indoctrinated and run through the feminist mill to accept the fact that they
Let's figure it
need
out.
men?
So
How do you do it?
We can figure it out together, my man. How about that?
Well,
I
we're
don't have
doing
all
that,
I
brother.
don't have all of the answers. All right. I have a few answers. I have a
Okay.
few things we can work on. I don't have the 100% solution. What I do have as a great first step, number one, is we stop accepting that we as men need to play the game that women have laid out for us. Stop listening to the dating coaches. Stop trying to do the whole high value male thing and recognize that as men, we're strong. We deserve to be respected if our lives are on the line.
May
and
I
we're
ask
the
you
leaders here.
a serious question? And I'm not fucking with you. It's a serious
Go ahead.
question. When was the last time that you listened to any Manosphere content from Chronic or myself or somebody of the like?
That's been a couple years.
Okay. Well, for the last 4 or 5 years, it's been morals, ethics, values, and principles. Learn to control your biology. Don't play the game. Don't roll the fucking dice. That's all we preach.
And roasts. I roast people. So
And roast.
not a lot of
Yeah.
morals being put there. But you keep on bringing up dating coaches. My channel,
We crush those motherfuckers.
My channel is Roach Stomping Central because they're pickup roaches.
We crush them.
And it's not that they have some wrong information, because if you want female attention, make money, get good at talking at people, and get fit. It's a trifecta.
And then what? And then what?
Well, then if you want to engage, if you just want to smash and dash, you can smash and dash. If you
And I-
want
and
to
I
try to
think
find a
that's
high value woman,
constructive.
you can find a high value woman. It's that man's
That's-
choice.
No, that choice of me smashing and dashing is what is destroying society. This is not something that as men we should accept.
So
All
do you
of
think
us here should,
you
that
th-
is awful behavior, and we should not be doing this.
do you think smashing and dashing? Do you think the man chooses whether it happens or the woman?
It's both. It takes two people. to
No.
have sex, man.
No, it's not.
No. It's her 100% all the time, every time,
How is
unless, of course, she's being raped, you know? And of course, we don't wish that on nobody. I don't want anybody to ever go through that.
No, absolutely
That-
not, dude. I don't think you're that type of person. Don't. Yeah, of course.
But much appreciation on that one.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
you're
at
not
least
that-
we
no,
got that
absolutely
down.
not, dude. No, you're definitely not that type of person. Don't. Yeah.
No, I'm not interested in anything like that, man. No, they are the gatekeepers of sexual access. It's absolutely written in stone. That is never going to change, not in this country or the West.
So there's no women that want commitment.
Yeah, they want
there are.
commitment, but then when you
Alright
get the
then. So then
commitment,
why
this
don't
is
we
this is
get
what we
those
say.
women?
And do you know what they do? They don't get smashed and dashed. It doesn't matter how much I throw up on the bench. I will not be able to smash and dash a woman saving her virginity for marriage until she gets a ring.
All right, so then why don't we strive for those women then?
Well, because those women still have an umbrella of coverage that allows them at any point in time to opt out of their commitment.
I mean,
we don't have that.
I have the no hymen, no diamond. I'm only going to get married to a virgin. But when I tell men what to do to get female attention, I don't know if they want a wife. I don't know if they want to smash or dash. I don't know anything about them. It's just this is what you do to become attractive to the opposite sex. Because I give that advice for free.
All that's going to lead up to is the same thing. You're just going to be smashing and dashing. You're not going to do all these different things of gaining status, gaining money, gaining muscles, so you can find a wife that wants you for your character. Because if those are the things that's attracting that woman, she doesn't want your character. There you go.
Do you think that women only care about character?
I think no. The obvious answer is
I don't
no.
think they care about it at all.
About looks. They mostly care about looks.
Okay.
It's their unfortunate reality.
So if there's this nice, submissive virgin woman who wants to build a strong family, but she's going to ignore a guy because he's not in shape, he doesn't have any money, what should he do? Get in shape and make money.
Or he can avoid that woman altogether and find a different woman. He
True enough.
should still probably get in shape. Getting in shape and exercising is definitely something you should do regardless of whether
what's wrong with a woman wanting to have children with a man who's financially stable?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But getting into shape so women like you is an awful thing to do.
It's just one of the many benefits. It's not the only reason I tell people to get jacked.
No, that's good, but it's the main focus and drive for most men. We can't
I do
pretend
agree with
otherwise.
you. You think about the opposite end of this. You have truck 50 bitches out there that think that they deserve tens. And it's not one or two of them, it's tens of thousands of them, because they've been told for decades now that you're great at any size. But they don't tell men that. They tell it to women. True. Women are very, very coddled in this society. They don't realize how close they are to the Stone Age.
And so we just let it fall then?
I don't know. I don't know. I really wish I had a better answer and a better thing to kind of jive on there. But I mean, where is this headed? It's headed towards complete dysfunction between men and women. And I don't see men being the perpetrators of that. I see an ideology that's a fucking disease, a mind virus pushing it.
I'm not going to sacrifice anything for a society that hates me. I'm going to prepare myself and my family to succeed after the shit blows up.
Well, I got to stop you there, fam, because for one, you say you're not sacrificing yourself for a society that hates you. Mm-hmm. Society is a network of multiple different ideals that are honestly mostly clashing. So, like, what part of society do you dislike? Let's start there.
I don't like paying taxes for single mother sluts and their bastards running around.
Well, that's a sensationalized point.
What? How's that sensational? Do you know what bastard means?
It's the truth.
Hey, do you know what bastard means?
Yes.
Okay. I pay taxes. I pay taxes to support bastard producing single mothers, and those bastards are more likely to make more bastards.
So this point is technically true so far as your taxes are used to support what government subsidized programs like welfare and different socialist things. That might be technically true, but that's not the only thing the taxes are going for. Like that's just taxation.
It also goes to useless wars overseas. It goes to stabilizing hedge funds.
Yeah.
All right. So the problem is we've got to fix the government then.
Yeah. And there's no fixing it.
How do you get the government fixed when the government operates this way intentionally? It's not incompetence. Folks think that it's incompetence because they wouldn't do it that way. It's not incompetence. It operates the way it was designed.
No, well, I don't have an answer to fix the entirety of the government.
Well, how did the founding fathers?
It's gonna take us as people first and foremost working together. No lone man's gonna fix this whole thing.
How did the founding fathers fix the colonial government?
Well, again, it wasn't one lone man; it was numerous men working together to topple it. It
was less than 5% of the male population.
And then they also had to get help from the French when they started losing.
But initiating it was less than 5% of the population.
So yeah, but it's still a network of men working together to topple this thing, which again is what I'm saying, is that we don't just let go of society. We work together and we move forward.
Well, if it's just a network of men, then I already have my society. We got 770 of them watching right now. just
All
a
right,
network.
so you have a small YouTube channel. That's great.
Yeah.
So why don't we?
Okay,
why
I would
don't
say
you
let's
use
be
that
honest.
YouTube
It's
channel
medium
to
small.
encourage these men to keep going.
What would the
As
point
in
be?
to not let go. Okay, so what would be the point of
Yeah.
keeping your society functioning?
I mean, let me run off a couple of things first. What
Okay,
what
go
is
ahead.
the point in continuing to be disadvantaged through taxation? What is the point in
Well, the first
continuing
thing
to be Hold on. Let me finish.
do that. Go ahead.
What's the point in continuing to be disadvantaged through child court or divorce court? We all know that it's uneven, it is unequal, and it's incentivized. So those are the two major topics that I'd like to try to find some kind of common ground on with you. How do we fix that?
All right, so we usually, I say usually, we would need an MRA to come in here and help us out there, because that's a huge chunk of what they've been trying to do for the last X amount of years they've been around.
They failed.
But I say it, yeah, usually for the most part. But
They've
they've
had
definitely failed.
one
They
judge
didn't have,
removed. One judge.
they didn't have a strong core of men that saw their own value and worked with them. Interestingly enough, they had a lot of men working against them, because these men, I guess as you guys would say, are mostly simping
The
for women and
simps.
trying to protect them. So again, where we got to start for me, level one, is getting men to recognize their value. And when we recognize their value, that we need to be strong and that we're leaders, we can move forward and actually start changing and working together. Because one lone man's not gonna topple this whole entire government. You know, there's no one's Neo here.
I think it's going to topple on itself. There's going to be people who aren't involved in these discussions at all who are going to fight. I'm saying I have no interest in dying for the right-wing simps or the left-wing simps. I will wait and let the simps bleed each other dry, and then if I make a move, I'll make a move after that. Like what any kinds of conversations the Manosphere has, the YouTubers have. I mean, just look at gas prices. Look at the political violence in the streets. This shit's already sinking. The decision is what you're going to do when the next things happen.
Which is what?
As I said, I'm not gonna fight for feminist governments.
How can you be prepared for what comes next? What if nothing comes next?
You think nothing's gonna come next?
I don't know.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
what is nothing coming
let
next?
it burn. I say we don't let it burn. We don't wait to see what comes next.
Okay.
We fight for what we have.
Okay. And there's been generations of men trying to do that, and it's been a slow erosion of our rights. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit outside the ATF and tell them they don't deserve to take away my guns, and then I go to jail and I sit with all those fools from January 6th and get tortured in DC prison?
Well, maybe you don't do what those guys did in January 6th then.
Oh, you think if I go in front of the ATF and protest, I'm not gonna get arrested and treated like that?
You don't do that then.
No, they will. They do not care what you do. The January 6 people rotting in those jails walked into the Capitol, and they are being tortured right now. People who just were let in by the cops.
Yeah, we got problems.
Yeah.
No,
So
yeah,
I'm saying, like, I don't care
but
enough about the society to get beaten in jail for it. I'm not doing that
my question, why?
because society hates me. I'm a straight white male. That's not a feminist. If they knew who I was, I'd lose everything. And why should I?
like a
This is better
family
for all these
or-
people that hate me if I sacrifice myself. I'm not a messiah. I'm not dying for these people.
Okay, but you don't have like a family, you don't have friends, you don't have people you care about?
I'm already taking care of them.
Okay,
They'll be much better taken care of if they listen to what I tell them.
So
Practice your rifle work.
So you think that it would be better for those people that if society collapsed and we moved on to the next thing, than to preserve with the security and freedom they have right now?
Wait, security, freedom.
Yeah, security, freedom, yes.
I guess it depends on what's next stage. If you're gonna have less security or freedom, you're gonna
It
lose
depends
a lot
on
of
what
money.
side of the
The economy
depends
will
on what
tank.
side of the Patriot Act you're on.
Yeah, like the economy
Let's
will
be
tank
honest.
regardless. So
you have parents that are going to school board meetings now that are classified as domestic terrorists.
I will say, like, the economy will tank. That's going to be painful for a lot of people. It'd be really painful for consumerists. You know, the consume meme.
It'd be painful for a lot of young men, actually.
I think young men will be. Well, I think young men will have an exponential increase in power once the cops can't do whatever they want to them.
I don't think so at all, because that would overpower the criminals too.
And why can't you take care of criminals?
you'd probably have to just execute them in the streets if you're thinking of like a Mad Max scenario.
It's already happening.
You legitimately have to go out like in Mortal Kombat and just start fighting these people hand-to-hand combat.
I've had Antifa members come to my house, and I've reported them to the cops, and they didn't do dog shit. I can't proactively.
So the police force is crappy.
I can't.
Which is what I talked about with Lauren Southern.
Listen, I can't defend myself, because if I defend myself from those Antifa fucks, you know who's my problem? The cops. So when those cops go away, when those cops go away, I finally get my power back.
All right. So for one, we both have issues with the police force, which again is something we don't disagree on. So I don't understand why you took a lot of umbrage with the Lauren Southern conversation I had.
I don't really think you talked. I didn't listen to when you were talking about cops with her.
Well,
I listened to the part. I listened to the part you brought me up. I wasn't gonna respond to the whole stream.
Yeah, I actually wasn't really even bringing you up as much as I needed the clip that you had of Lauren. It wasn't really about you.
Well, you know, she called me a cultist, and that's defamatory.
Yeah,
it's a lie.
You have to talk to her about that.
Well, she won't talk to me, obviously.
Let me ask you a question.
I mean, honestly, she might. I don't know.
No, I've had my team contact her about 6 times, never been answered. So I don't think she's interested in talking to a masculine man.
Base, do you co-sign that notion that Undead Chronic and myself are cultists?
No.
Okay. Cool.
No, not at all.
Damn it! I bought all these robes.
So look, if you happen to have another conversation with Miss Southern or Mrs. Southern, whatever it might be, maybe you could say that.
I mean,
you know,
sure,
because she's not going to talk to me. She's not going to talk to Chronic. So just saying. I mean, maybe it would be nice if the guys out here that are trying to push men forward, which we are, you think that we're giving up. It's giving up on something that is committing us to usury. We're fully committed to not being used. I'm not going to be used. Not my money, not my person, not my time, nothing. Not for anything that I don't want it to be used for. It'd be nice if somebody would point that out every once in a while.
Okay.
I think another mistake was I kind of got the vibe that you two were both saying that Mgtow is just as bad as feminism. That is.
Well, that's what Lauren is saying. Effectively, it's not at all what feminism is. The problem is that Mgtow, honestly, philosophically, is a bit all over the place. For the one hand, you'd have like the original form of Mgtow, where it's just mostly men trying to figure out a different way to be men. Then you have like the second iteration of it that was like men avoiding women in marriage and relationships as such. And then I guess now you have its third form, which is whatever it is. I kind of fell off on it.
I think it's, when I think Mgtow, I think no cohabitation, no marriage, no kids.
Correct.
I think that's like the holy trifecta of it.
Self-awareness, learn yourself, protect yourself, put yourself forward in everything that you do, and those that you choose to allow in your circle of life will benefit from that. That's it. It's easy.
All right, so to that front, you could still have a family. I don't see where the contradiction there would be.
Because it's still governed by the choices of other people. You see, I can go all in, a penny and a pound, to have that family. I could go get somebody right now today, start making kids. When she becomes unhappy, whether it's through my fault or no fault, she has an avenue to fuck me out of everything, to take my kids from me. You see, that can't go anymore. That has to go away.
Well, for one, then why aren't you helping the MRAs fight for that then?
We do help the MRAs.
Oh, okay, that's
I don't decree the MRAs at all unless they're just blowhards. And I haven't run across too many blowhards that are MRAs. We do help them. We help them as much as we can.
I don't think there's that many MRA channels active or big anymore. I think they've kind of changed the minds of a lot of men. But look, most men will tell you that the divorce court, the family court is fucked. Still no legislation. Nothing's changed.
Okay. Even to that extent, I'm still not convinced then that we don't have relationships with women.
I mean, I'm not one that says that. That's Hammerhand. That's not. But Hammerhand, what do you think?
Like I just said, I feel like I don't feel this particular way. It is this particular way. It is well known that child court and divorce court incentivizes judges to swing that decision in one way. They get paid for that. Period. They abdicate their ability to be a judge. They stop being a judge and they become what is called a magistrate under Title 4D. That directly contributes to the retirement fund of these judges. You're being fucked 10 different ways to Sunday when you answer the subpoena and you go in there and sign away your rights. And 99.999% of men have no idea what they're doing when they get roped into this. That's why Mgtow is becoming gigantic. That's why it's becoming a focal point for people that despise this shit. A lot of money rests on Mgtow succeeding or failing.
All right.
See, it's not that simple, my man.
You're looking at the absolute worst possible scenario.
No, sir. It's 80% of the time. Every time people divorce and children go to one parent or the other.
Looking at the worst possible scenario with women.
No, it's not. It's not the worst possible scenario. It's the
So
common result of a divorce court decree.
Okay, so if we look at a 50% split, assuming that statistic is correct, number one, you got a 50% chance of this happening. Then the worst possible scenario is going to be you're losing everything from this relationship with this woman. Now, for me, there needs to be a huge analysis of what type of woman that you were dating to begin with.
So it's our fault.
It could be. I don't know. We'd have to analyze it.
I mean, it's not the society that produces this woman.
And guess what? More than it's your fault, it's the woman's fault. Let's just be fair. More than what hand you had, it's her hand because she's the one that acted immorally. So number one, that first and foremost, it's still mostly her fault for not adhering to what a marriage should be. That's absolutely mostly her fault. Now, that being said, we as men still need to analyze the type of women that we're having relationships with. Like, we're not absolved of that responsibility.
Agreed. But how many times? How many times does a guy step forward so that he can have a flamethrower taken to him, his bank account, his home, and everything else? How many times should a guy walk into that shit knowing that it's coming?
I'd probably say once. I mean, once if it happens one good time, you probably aren't going to do it again.
And that's what you're getting.
If you know it can happen, you're probably going to try to take steps to avoid it.
Yeah.
So if you know that this is what can happen, I think the first thing we need to do is analyze the type of women we're having relationships with. If a woman that we're having our relationships with is a woman that has an understanding of what a marriage entails and what her role in her job is, we've already cut that out for now. So we're already in a good standing there. So not only can we write up different prenuptial agreements, but considering that a woman is a person and can ration and can reason and think, you can talk to that woman. Now, if this woman has some type of mental problems, you probably should have analyzed that before you got into the relationship with her. Like, this is the part of, we need to look at these bad behaviors that women are having. And that's what I talk about a lot on my channel. The reason why I talk about a lot of these different bad behaviors from women is so as young men, we can see it. We can see the signs quickly and say, all right, disengage. We're disengaging from these terrible women. That's what I'm trying to help a lot of young men get away from.
So when you disengage and you say, I can't deal with this anymore, and she goes to the cops and says he raped me, now what?
That's worst case scenario.
No, it's not. It happened 1,000 times last year.
I'm sure.
I think to bridge it is, I would agree it's worst case scenario, just like divorce is worst case scenario, but the worst case scenario happens 50% of the time.
It's common. It's cool that that you say that it's the worst case scenario, except the worst case scenario doesn't happen 5% of the time. It happens 50% the first go around, 85% the second go around. God help you if you go in for threes. So as you see, it's incentivized, it's institutionalized. And that's what we preach to these men. No marriage, no cohabitation, no kids. Keep yourself as safe as possible until this shit starts to come apart. They'll get wise and they'll start taking these laws apart. Why do you think Roe v. Wade all of a sudden popped up with 10 Western countries below replacement rate? Come on now.
That's a bit conspiratorial, but I could probably see.
Well, okay, maybe so. I'll grant you that. But it's very weird timing, isn't it?
Wait,
I would say, but I mean, we need more information.
Like a conspiracy, like me saying that COVID was made in a lab, losing a channel for it.
that would also be conspiracy. Even if I would agree with you that it was man-made, it's still conspiracy territory.
Yeah, well, it's been proven true.
It was proven true. Yeah.
Well, then it's not a conspiracy anymore.
Yeah, so like these saying something's a conspiracy when we're trying to think about these massive changes in society that might be pushed by super rich people, they're not going to tell us what they're doing. So any kind of postulation about that's a conspiracy. So it doesn't mean any like conspiracy. Okay.
I mean, what's going on over in Davos?
You can't accept
right?
it as gospel is the point. You have to look at the evidence and be critical about what's going on.
Yeah.
It might be true, but you'd still need a logical reason to come to such conclusion.
I think the logical reason is right in front of your face. I mean, when you have Charlie 19 and it's no deadlier than the common flu and you're being pushed into it. I mean, not just a little bit of a push. Your livelihood is threatened. You are cordoned off by the portion of the population that supports the current culture. And all of your folks are rounded up. Go ask Australia about the roundup. It wasn't a fictional thing that happened over there. They built entire camps and segregated people over the flu. That's a power play, brother.
We can agree that I guess you want to censor the C word, the C virus.
I don't know why. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge now, but I just call it Charlie 19.
Oh, you call it Charlie 19. I thought you were trying to censor it for YouTube. So the coronavirus is a whole thing and a whole topic unto itself.
Right on.
I'm not really prepared to speak on.
Right on.
Yeah, like how women overwhelmingly supported lockdowns and men didn't.
Well, that would make sense because women are deeply insecure creatures that prioritize their safety most of the time.
True.
Okay. And they're very emotional. They're very emotional, right?
They're very emotional.
So like, compared to men, women are going to be more likely to be swayed by emotion.
Well, that's how they mostly make decisions. They're mostly emotionally based decision makers.
So why do we give them the same legal rights and changing the government? We don't want to run government off of emotion.
Here's the hot take. Honestly, if women don't bear the same responsibility as men, they shouldn't have the same power.
Agreed.
So that's my hot take. So unless
Agreed.
you put women having the same responsibility as men, then they shouldn't be able to have the same access to power.
I agree.
That's my hot take.
So now you have to ask yourself, why do they have it? What's the end goal? What's the purpose of empowering them? Was it to disempower us?
You could say. I mean, we're getting to conspiracy theory territory again.
Well, it's not a conspiracy if you look at the way that they voted since 1912? I mean, or 1920, 1921?
We could talk about the JQ, but I'm not prepared today. So
right on.
I wasn't even. You don't even have to talk about JQ. Women are emotional creatures, and they are manipulated by social media. They want social acceptance. They watch the TV. They look around and see what society accepts, and society is being manufactured by the people who own all these platforms, the people who own all the banks, all the big media, the people in the government. So the people in the government, if they want men to lose power, they'll just find ways to emotionally manipulate women to vote in for politicians that remove their power.
Okay, so then I could argue for this then. For all of the high value male access that a lot of the guys are reaching for, why don't they then take their power and do something different? Like if we have all these men who are striving to get into powerful positions in society, why don't they use it to actually fight back and help other men? And by extension helping men, you're going to be helping out women in your families, like the children that are coming as well.
Because the men who get enormous power want to help themselves and their families out. And they can manipulate and control women to take power and money away from lower men than them to enrich themselves and their families. They don't care about men. The presidents don't care about us. The politicians don't care about us. They care about themselves, their bank accounts, and their families, and whatever children they're going to be flying out to some island.
All right, so that's them. But we as individuals, you, me, Hammerhead, the audience members, if we have the ability, again, in modern society, to strive for greatness. You would just be vague like that. We can try to establish economic power a lot easier than, which is still hard. It's still going to take work, but a lot easier than our forefathers can. Why is it the goal then trying to reach to a state where we can influence more men, more women, more people, and be the thing that is convincing these women into their folly? Again, like, why aren't we working towards trying to fix this thing?
I am, but what's stopping me is a number by my channel name. The powerful men are going to want to silence me.
I mean, I guess that's a badly have to face with your own channel then. But I mean, if you're trying, then
But
I think
censorship
go ahead,
is a pretty big issue, isn't it? Don't you think?
It hasn't been for me.
Well,
but for
do
you
you
guys,
play the game? I mean, it's been a pretty big issue for everybody else.
I think for me, definitely when you talk about homosexual issues, I've had one video taken down when I talked about it was goofy actually. But for the most part, no, I haven't really been censored based on my videos. I think the soft censorship of limited ad states is a huge problem with YouTube. Whenever a video gets put in a limited ad state, YouTube doesn't want to promote it that much for it's not going to make a lot of money for one. They don't like pushing controversial topics. So that's one thing that can really kill a channel. But again, I don't think that's a point we'd all disagree on though.
You're also just not as mean as me, so probably why you lost less channels, or you haven't lost a channel.
Yeah.
Because
honest, I'm a little disappointed. I really thought you guys were gonna keep that same roasting energy and call me a simp.
Well, then that's not a conversation. Then it's just us insulting each other.
It's not a conversation there, Base. I mean, look, man, we've had prior encounters before, bro, and everything was cool. And
so this why did you slam on talking about my voice and call me a beta and a simp and all that?
Because it's a roast channel, and you also said, what was it? No, you didn't say the power of anime, power of love. You said it was like an anime idea, the power of love. Bro, how can I not make fun of that?
The idea that we use the power of friendship to work to make society.
Okay,
that's a goofy way to put it.
How could I not? But you know it's goofy. But how could I not roast that?
How many women do you think believe that? Come on, Base. Come on, bro. Yeah, I mean, about the power of love and healing your bonds and getting out there and holding hands with one another. How many of them do you really feel that way?
Not very many, honestly.
Right.
I think the modern woman has done everyone a great disservice.
I agree with you, my man.
I harshly criticize them all of the time. Which is why I find it goofy that I get called a simp when the main people I criticize is the modern woman. It doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe simp was a bit harsh.
Or not, I don't understand why I got hit with that energy when we could have just talked straight up like this to begin with.
Because it's more because it's more interesting to watch a former YouTube associate sit there while I get dunked on by a loose pussied bitch. Like what? I'm gonna call you up like, bro, this is really no. I'm just gonna respond to that video.
Can't disagree with that, man. That's kind of the way that I felt about it too. Is there were opportunities for you to? I mean, you have a bit of a history with us in particular, and you didn't say a fucking word when she went in for the throat.
Well, that's because it wasn't about you guys. It was about the idea of
it is about us,
society.
Well, it is about us, man.
So then if that means we need to argue about that idea then, because that's what's most important to me.
Well, I mean, I just asked you a little bit earlier if you co-signed that notion, and you said no, and I was happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, you guys. I don't think you guys are villainous at all. If that's what you think, I think no. I don't think you guys are villainous, but I don't think you guys are helping either by having an audience of men that don't want to fight for society.
I think that's your simp nature, fighting for society that's feminist. That's pure. That's like simp of the soul.
How is that simp of the soul?
Because you want to fight for a bunch of women who are sleeping around that want to just suck you up for money.
I don't want those women. I want the children. Well, you want to fight. I want my family members. I want the people.
Well, you want to fight for
about.
You think you need the society that's suppressing your family members? You need that?
Well, we don't need that element of society, but we need the cohesion, definitely. Like again,
we have the cohesion, brother.
Okay,
we have the cohesion.
We fight for the cohesion and we cut out the cancer. So the cancer is
the cancer
feminism, right?
It's your government. The cancer is your government. That's the same government that denied $40 billion to help people get through 2 years of fuck yous, closed businesses, deaths, riots, and they give it to the Ukrainians because they set up the Ukrainians in 2014 as a vassal state to the United States to muscle Russia.
Then if
that's your government.
If that be the case, then we're all bamboozled here, and we should stop with the man-woman thing and fight them.
Yes,
that's what I feel. I feel like we then need to just skip the middleman and fight them if that be the case.
That is exactly why we tell men about their morals, their ethics, values, principles, control your biology, learn how to do these things, learn what they mean and you'll become a different man in short order, in very short order.
All right. So, which is great, and I don't disagree with. But as when you have those elements, I think we need to apply it to being a father and your family and giving it to the next generation.
Sure.
So they don't deal with the same shit that we dealt with.
Sure. On a smaller version, I do this with my son. My son
Perfect.
can pick this fucking shit out from a mile away. He's surprising me with his insight here recently, and he's only 14.
Base, if you were asked to fight for your country, if you were drafted, would you go?
Yes.
Okay, so you would.
Why would you go over to a foreign country and kill their citizens?
I'd get sent to prison, and then I'd have to fight my own people in the prison cell, which I'd prefer not to do.
Well, if it's military prison, it's a bit more orderly. But let's say you go and fight, and I say nah, I'll sit in the jail cell and run the biggest Pokemon trading cards gang in the prison. You get shot and get or let's say you get Minecrafted in Ukraine. I get released. I go back to my family. I'm there for 40, 50 years. How did your death help your family out?
Ask the question again.
You follow the draft. You answer the draft. You go to war. Your life gets extinguished. I go to jail for 2 years, 3 years. I get out of jail. I'm there with my family for 40, 50 years, working, taking care of them. Whose family benefited more in those choices? Yours, who lost a son, or mine?
I mean, I'd capitulate. Yours did.
Yeah, so that's how I see it. Like that's like the most basal. I'm not fighting for the society. I'm not going to bleed for it.
I think the issue is like you're looking at the most extreme way of fighting for society, which would be being drafted and going
actually
to
fighting. Yeah,
Base. It's not extreme, brother. I mean, look at the amount of people that have died just since 1990. You know, it's 10, 12, 15,000 people have been vanquished just on our side in wars when we have to fly people over to other countries to kill their citizens over fucking oil or because somebody wanted to disincentivize the petrodollar and go to a gold-backed standard. You know, this has to stop. It has to stop. These people did nothing to us.
You're talking about like the Russians and Ukrainians?
I'm talking about any war. Right now, it's Russia and Ukraine, you know. But what is it going to be tomorrow? What's it going to be in 2 years? These people commit war on their fellow man so that they can get their resources, so that they can try to cudgel these people into putting in a Federal Reserve type banking system so that they can control them. You know, Russia's the only country that doesn't have that. It's a lot to think about, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not prepared to speak on it.
Yeah, right on. Gentlemen, I'm going to disappear for a minute. I'll be right back.
That's fine. Yeah, you could say it's the most extreme, right, answering the draft. But what other ways do men fight for their society? Like you could protest to stop the war?
Being present in your child's life definitely helps.
Okay.
Number one. I think a lot of men don't recognize how important being a father actually is, despite the fact that we always feel the effects of not having our fathers in our life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like when I say I'm not fighting for society, I don't think about being there for your family. That's different. I'm thinking about paying taxes and bleeding for the U.S. federal government.
All right, well, it's not fighting for the government. Like I'm not being overly patriotic in the sense that we become Captain America and fight for the government regime. I'm talking about keeping a strong, safe society for the people you love. So we're in America, as I assume you're in America. So I want America to continue to function first and foremost. Now every other country, whatever. Well, I might be a nationalist in that front. I don't, but at least for America, I want us to function first. So I don't want this society to decline. So my primary concern at this point is trying to figure out a way to stop this declining. Like I don't want it to happen. I don't want to throw my hands up and not continue to fight to make sure our society continues to go.
Yeah, I guess for me, I love my family more than I love the society. You know, I'm not gonna fight.
Fine.
Not gonna fight and sacrifice to stop the decline when there's already millions of people doing that and they're having no effect.
Yeah, so I can't co-sign with giving up.
Hey, that's okay.
Especially when you look at all of human history of men who've had it worse than us who didn't. I don't think it's acceptable, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, I'm kind of depending on a bunch of men trying to not give up, and then causing some massive upheaval. I don't know who's going to win that, but after that, then I'll make moves. I'm just preparing. I'm not one to fight the Hydra.
Why not be that man? Why not raise yourself to a higher standard, especially with all the people you've got listening to you? Like, why not rise to that occasion and be the man that puts his foot down and says, "No, we're not letting this shit slide anymore."
Because my family and the men listening's families will be much better off if they hold their blood and resources and stay out of jail until this already shithole society collapses.
But that's not true. The problem is, when a society collapses, the people that get affected the most are going to be young men. Society is going to rally to make sure it protects women and children because they're the only ones that can keep, quote unquote, whatever destructive side
if it collapses, then they're not going to be there to rally for them, right?
No, the men are going to be dead is the problem.
No, I'm saying the women. You're saying society protects. If society collapses, they're not going to be around there to protect them.
No, it's going to be in a state similar to Venezuela as it is currently is now.
Who already does that? It's already being done. 50 years ago, what is it? 50, 60 years ago now, welfare and the great estate replaced men in the homes. They replaced them. They don't need us. They said that they don't need us. They don't want us. We're just something for them. You can go out. Families are not defined by the nuclear family, not the traditional nuclear family. And that is institutionalized behavior now. And you see how we're paying the price for it.
I also think that
that affects men more than it affects anybody.
I think the longer this society functions, the more men are getting abandoned. The incels are exploding in numbers. The drug addicts, the male suicides are still rising. This society, the longer it functions, the worse that's going to get. So if the society went away,
the problem is it's not functioning. Because I think the results is showing that it's not functioning. If numerous young men want to kill themselves or are on drugs.
Yeah,
again,
if it stops
to help those men.
Yeah, those men.
Why would we let it continue to fall?
Because if it it's not fall, it's in the process of falling, right? But when it's gone, those young men immensely get more powerful.
How?
Because there's going to be there will be no pigs to stop them. All these dudes without houses, all these dudes sitting at their parents' house that can't get shit because BlackRock's buying up those houses. If society collapses, hey, free house, free land. Now, it's going to cost something. It's going to be the arena of violence.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to go into Mad Max. You think that the men that were suicidal and on drugs are going to be able to fight?
And the incels.
The incels. They're the ones that are going to fight for land.
Incels will fight if they have something they believe in. Those guys will fight. Every single instance of history with collapses, civil wars, young men without access to land, resources, or women would band together into armies and fight and achieve that. Well, some of them were wiped out, but some of them would achieve it.
So basically, men with nothing left to lose just go crazy.
Well, is it going crazy if they're practicing?
No,
if they're disciplined?
Not going crazy. Yeah, they're not going crazy. They're following their natural instinct that has been suppressed for the majority of their life. That's their natural instinct. It is absolutely aberrant that you can look in the direction of a female or an effeminate man and be accused of a wrongdoing. That's how far down the slope the society has already gone. I tell people that we're in that 20-year drain circle. That's where we're at right now.
I'm getting dizzy, Hammerhand.
Uh-oh.
All right, then it's time we put the stops on it. What I'm saying is there's no scenario of this society slipping that comes out with any of us on top. Nobody wins here. No one's winning currently. No one's definitely going to win if we throw our hands up and we don't do something about this stuff.
Some people will
especially these incels. Like these incels, they're not going to come out stronger. If they can't fight for what they have now, they're not going to
They're not allowed to fight for what they have now. They're not allowed to fight. They're not allowed to go into a house owned by BlackRock and say, you know what, I'm taking this, because BlackRock will call up the feminist cops and arrest them.
Yeah, no, because again, we should be in a society where you're not supposed to be allowed to go and just take people's property.
Unless you're in the government.
That would be reasonable. That would be functional. So again, so the problem is, we've just been psyoped by the government to be fighting about men and women when really we should be fighting them. And if that be the case, then we should all be striving to cut the crap about talking about thoughts and start talking about the government and getting us to look at each other and say, we need to work together, which is going back to what I'm saying. We need to work together, because the only way we can keep this shit going is if we're working together.
Who's we?
Like families.
Who's we?
Yeah.
Men.
Who's a we?
Women.
Women don't fight. Women don't fight and die for their men.
Unfortunately, not. But they're not supposed to. They're women. That's
okay.
stupid.
So why do we need to work with them? We don't.
You don't.
Because they have children. What?
So what?
Okay, I'm gonna calm down. The so what function? The so what function of literally continuing?
Do you think the Mongols worked with the women they captured? Do you think they were working together?
the Mongols were a destructive society that collapsed when Genghis Khan died. They're not a good example.
Hey, let me ask you something, man. You know, and in all seriousness,
go on.
Because they've got children doesn't mean jack shit when you have a billion kids on the burn pile.
I think it makes
doesn't mean nothing.
Difference.
Doesn't mean nothing. When they have bills in 3 states now that have passed that you can kill a born child, no thank you. That argument does not carry any water.
I need to double check.
New York.
Yeah,
I thought California was thinking about passing that.
This is definitely more fuel as to why we shouldn't let this shit slide.
New York.
This isn't convincing me to give up. It's convincing me that
no. I want you and your compatriots to go fight and hopefully live and maybe win or cause whatever you think's going to happen. I'm going to buy a couple more high-powered rifles and just chill in the mountains and let you guys fight for feminist society. I'm not interested in fighting for it.
Yeah, I'm not interested in a feminist society.
Yeah, exactly. It's not fighting for the feminist society. It's fighting for the American society. They are a cancer.
Well, American society is feminist.
No, it's not.
It was co-opted 100 years ago, my man. When women can stand on the same ground as you and have the same power of that vote as you, and they don't have to put any skin in the game, it was changed then.
Well, the whole voting. We won't get on to that.
Yeah, voting is jacked up anyway.
95% of Americans think that women are pro women's suffrage. So American society is feminist.
There's nothing in the Constitution that would prevent women from voting in the first place. So the 19th Amendment was never necessary, but that's irrelevant.
Well, it was originally written for landowning white men. So
it was more landowners in general.
Well, it was landowning white men of good character. And that's what it was.
In this country. It doesn't apply to England. It doesn't apply to Uzbekistan. It's in this country.
Yeah, but either way, that's really neither here nor there.
Well, it's feminist. This current society is feminist.
All right, so then we cut out the cancer.
Okay. So you say cut out the cancer.
Part of society.
Do you know what metastatic cancer is?
No.
Okay, cancer will start up in one spot. Let's say it's your colon, and when it metastasizes, it will send out satellite cancer cells to other parts of the body and grow new cancer. So if society is 95% cancerous, you're going to do a lot of cutting for what?
Think about your major institutions. Think about your major institutions, right? What he just said, think about music, movies, entertainment, Hollywood, media, academia. Think about all of those things right there. That's your metastasized cancer. And it controls everything.
All right, yeah, but its power is still only predicated by the audience. So we can get the audience to not want this stuff and give them something different, then we can lead them to a different path.
On whose platform?
Okay.
Well, Undead Chronic's got a platform.
So there's two.
Exactamundo, right?
There's two. I'd say there's two aspects of that. Oh, go on.
You've got one.
Mm-hmm. I'd say there's two aspects because you're saying, well, stop talking about thoughts, stop responding to TikToks and all that stuff. How do you think you change culture? You don't change culture by saying 10 reasons we need to overthrow the U.S. government. I take a clip of an OnlyFans thought dancing, complaining that no men want to date her. I make fun of it, and young men watch it and laugh because it speaks to them on some level. That's how you kind of change change the way people think. right? This music
Yeah.
industry, this entertainment industry. You don't do that with long, intelligent videos. You do that with clips, with shorts, that kind of
That's not
stuff.
true. You absolutely use it with long, intelligent videos. It's two sides of the same coin, or it's one journey. I think a commenter said this to me, that it's a journey. And on the one hand, I think it's fine to have content as such where you can be jovial and joke. But if this isn't leading young men into wanting to do more than just stew in their anger, I don't think it's a good thing.
Do you
I think
think
we have to do more
Okay.
than just give them a woman to rage against. We have to give them a woman to strive to be with. And we have to give them a reason as to why masculinity is important.
Yeah, I think that these videos making fun of these OnlyFans thoughts, that's a different audience than the videos of like, you know, an intelligent conversation. Those are different audiences. You're not going to get a lot of 13, 14, 15-year-old boys coming in to listen to this kind of stuff, but they'll watch a short of some busty chick bouncing around getting roasted.
Okay, but one problem that I have here is, which is a bit ironic, but the same draw that gets them to go check out that woman is the fact that she's attractive, which is still them kind of simping for her in the first place.
Well,
it's kind of like a transference of their sexuality.
Do you think that they're idealizing a woman that's getting roasted, or is it just a biological reaction? Oh, titties.
I think it's both.
I mean, can you say? I mean, if you click on an advertisement that shows some anime girl, are you simping for the anime girl?
You can't really simp for a fictional character.
Well, but what's the difference between the anime girl and that real woman? They're never gonna meet them.
The real woman exists, and the anime character doesn't.
But will he ever meet them? Will he ever give them money? No. Neither.
Exactly.
No to both. No to both. So like, it's not simping. I don't think it's simping.
Well, I think a great example of this is actually the Fresh and Fit podcast, which you may not like, which might be great.
They're feds.
But,
one's
a huge
a fed.
portion of the time, whenever they have girls on their show who have OnlyFans, their subscribers increase because the Fresh and Fit fan base will go subscribe to that girl.
They're simps. Yeah,
they're simps.
So it's definitely not helping. I would feel in that regard.
No, they empower that type of thoughterry to keep hold of young men. That's what they do. They're not teaching those young men to be manly. They're teaching them to be suckers. They're teaching them that there's 10 doors to the plantation. All you got to do is go click on it and subscribe for $2.99 a month.
Ooh.
That's what they're teaching them.
They're teaching them also to be the very thing that these women want, which isn't, again, it's not helpful to anyone.
No, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea at all. Women want people that are compliant. They want people that can read their mind. They want people that will pay for their nails and not mind that they'll bed down somebody else to get sexual satisfaction. That's what they want. They say it 1,000,000 times a day on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube. It's time people start listening to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-reporting these women are doing. I was gonna make a video about that.
They sure as fuck are. They tell on themselves every day. They're very arrogant and cocky.
No, yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scam artists in the Manosphere, the big ones, because the big ones don't get censored because they're not a threat. So if you're just teaching men how to angle your feet to get low value puniti, if you're just charging them $2,000 an hour for coaching calls, and then you go off and have sex with trans women, you're not a threat to the same people that control YouTube. Right? So
that's a bitch, ain't it?
But if you talk about, I'm not interested in. Even if you just use the Mgtow acronym, you could be the most. You could make a channel, Mgtow fishing. And it's just a dude fishing. He's like, this is a great fish. He will never get monetized. He will get shadow banned. He might even lose his channel. Oh, he was mean to that fish. Just that acronym. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, big ups to the gang in the chat and the wrenches for hanging in there tough, guys. Thanks a lot. Much appreciated. And welcome and thank our guest, Bass. How do you say your name, man?
Uh-oh.
BASSFZz.
Oh my gosh, we got it so bad. I got it so bad.
Bass or Bass, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, it does? Oh, okay, cool. I was like, damn it. I was trying to make it easier. But do you have any other points of contention? BASSFZz?
No, I guess I'll close with a summary. I think one, I really thought you were going to keep that same roasting energy.
Well, again,
I guess, and on the one hand, I'm pleasantly surprised, but I was heated. I thought you guys were really coming at me. It probably was better that we didn't skirmish out each other, but I really thought that's what you guys were going to come for, and that's why I wanted Hammerhead to come in and like I said, keep that same fire he had for me. But to that extent, I still think you should strive for something higher and do something more with the power you have, and not give up and let society burn. Especially if you can get all these eyes on you, if you can get these men and inspire these men. There's a commenter, you see this one commenter you read before he came in here, who said that he was able to bench more because you could do it. If you've got this power to influence these people, you should do something with it. And I don't think throwing your hands up and letting society go is the path. And that's my thing. And that's the major thing that I've always wanted to talk about, including with Lauren Southern. So whatever you feel about Lauren, listen, I'll tell you this. She's only ever been good to me. If you don't like her, you got to talk to her about that. I like her. She's only ever been good and respectful to me. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna I have too much honor to just throw her under the bus.
Oh, no, I didn't expect you to throw her under the bus.
Yeah. So
cool. Well, hey, thanks for joining the show, man.
Thanks,
right,
Bass.
I will say this. Thanks for chatting with me, and thanks for actually letting me say my piece.
Oh yeah,
bro. And in my opinion, this is the way that it's supposed to be done. All that fire and brimstone has a place, but when we're trying to connect with somebody that sees it a little bit differently, I don't think that's the time or the place.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. So I will say thank you. I'll
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming on, bro. Peace.
All right.
And so, if you've made it to the end, these are some of my final thoughts. Initially, I did not believe that Undead Chronic was a doomer when I had first put up the video. Well, when I had suggested Lauren Southern watch the video, I honestly didn't really even want to converse about Undead Chronic because he was not what was important. It's the mindset that is important. And after all of this, that's still the most important thing to me. Then it is a mindset, a philosophy that needs to be curb stomped. And so in the future, I'm going to talk more about the nonsense of letting society burn. I'm going to argue a little bit more about that and try to get some of you people out here to recognize that even if the ideals of society that we have here in America is not worth fighting for, your friends, your family, and most importantly, you, dear viewer, you are worth fighting for. And the people you love are worth fighting for. So I got to go back to the drawing board. I gotta make some more arguments. I got to think more critically. But I'm going to convince you, viewer, that your life is worth it. Your friends' lives are worth it. Your family's lives are worth it. And our society is worth it. And it's hard. It's a mountain. But the only way we're going to climb this mountain is together. So that's one of the new theses and goals I have for this channel, which means I need some clout. So that being said, I should hope you guys got something out of today's video. I really hope that you did. And if you did, go and click the like button. Yeah, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.